Okay, these are a sample of some of the army painter primers that you have. You can see this guy here is a Necrotic Flesh, so it's kind of a green color, great for painting zombies and goblins and orcs, what have you. Just a plain flat black. I actually use this quite a bit. And then this is exactly the same color as this flat back, just in a half size can. And again, these things are usually pretty good. You can see that one there, $11 just for a plain black primer, and the Necrotic Flesh one, these go for usually $15 to $16 at the game store, or possibly even more if you're going to buy them online. So let's take a look at a couple different options that you might be able to use. So I found both these items at two different hardware stores. So the Rust-oleum, at least in the Pacific Northwest and probably most of North America, Rust-oleum seems to own the spray paint market for the most part. So you can find this stuff pretty much everywhere. So this was just a flat red primer. I really liked the look of it. It's not brown, not red, kind of a combination of both. It goes on really smooth and covers well. And it seemed to have bonded pretty good to the plastic. However, I did notice that after about 24 hours, a lot of the paint was still coming off on my fingers if I was handling the minis too much. But paint did stick to it, and it did do a pretty good job. And this one basically was on sale for $3 a can, so pretty good option with that. The Krylon, this was a tough one to find. I actually had to look in multiple stores, and I finally found it in a store called Ace Hardware, I think, which is pretty much all through the United States. So if you're watching this video from the US, good news, Ace Hardware should carry some Krylon paint, and this is specifically the Krylon Camouflage paint. And then you see right there the Fusion for plastic. Boy, this stuff went on amazingly smooth, really crisp, did not fill in any of the details or gaps. It dried within 10 minutes, you could handle it, did not come off on your fingers. This stuff is the bomb, and I know there's some other YouTubers out there who have recommended this as well. But this stuff is great, and I think I paid $6 for this, so it was a little more expensive, twice the cost of the Rust-oleum. But boy, this stuff goes great, and I really like the different colors. So in the Camouflage, they have a couple different tans, a couple different browns, and a couple different greens, and then some flat black as well. I think it's a really good option for you if you want to paint some of your miniatures. So speaking of some of those miniatures, let's go take a look at some doors that I painted for the game Massive Darkness that has some really fine wood grain in them, and then you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the box of the Massive Darkness, these doors and bridges. And as you can see, there's 15 doors total, 5 doors of 3 different sculpts that they have, and then 2 bridges. And then coming over here, these are what the doors look like. And so they're pretty fun, they're pretty detailed. They actually have a little base that goes with them as well, so the doors swing open and close. And then let's see if we can go ahead and get down and you can really see the fine details of that wood grain. That looks pretty cool. And then you've got kind of a combination of a wood and metal doors, and then of course you have your like little dungeon doors, all metal. And so we're going to go ahead and cover these with some primer, the 2 different types, and I'm going to show you the results, particularly on this guy here because it has so much tiny detail. Be back soon. Okay, so here we are. Got these primed up with the 2 different primers, and so you can see the detail of the Rust-oleum, that reddish brown primer, still pretty good, still kept a lot of the details. But boy, you look at the other one, the Krylon, the Camouflage, and it really makes those details pop quite a bit. Now, maybe it's just the difference in the color, but I really think that the paint is just thinner. It coats quicker. The nozzle was more direct spray, so I used a lot less to do the same amount of work on this. But both look great, both totally acceptable. But I think you can tell that the left side, the left one, with the Krylon paint, is certainly higher contrast, higher detail with that. And so here we go with the wood and the metal door as well, and they look pretty much the same. The good detail pops out. Didn't fill any of the little cracks or anything in there. So that looks good. And then for the metal door, I actually went and painted that black, so you guys can check that out. So having a black primer, if you're going to paint something metal, is ideal, because the primer or the metal paint will show up really well against a black background. It doesn't do so well if you're doing it with a white or a lighter color. It takes many coats to get the same effect. So anyways, I think this is pretty good, and hopefully you guys think too. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, and we look forward to providing another video for you soon. Take care.